Hey everybody, welcome back to our Liberty House. My name's Beth and I'm out here in the middle of January in the garden. It's a beautiful sunny day. It is a little bit windy, especially for our area. We don't get a lot of wind like this typically, but I wanted to come out here and share 10 things that I'm going to be planting in our garden this month outside. And if you live in a similar climate like mine, you can plant these outside right now too. Winter gardening is a little bit more nuanced than summer gardening, where I feel like summer gardening is really straightforward. Winter gardening, like I said, is nuanced. Each season is going to be pretty different. And oftentimes in our area, I don't plant anything outside in January. I wait till February. But this year specifically, it's been relatively dry for us. We're not getting as much rain as we typically do. And this next week's forecast is sunny in the 60s for highs. We're still getting down into the 40s at night, so it's not like I'm ready to plant spring crops by any means. But I'm going to take advantage of this weather, and we filled up one of our other garden boxes earlier this morning, so I'm eager to get my hands in the dirt and plant a few more things to harvest before we plant our spring crop, which will likely be in April. So if you do the math, let's see, it's the middle of January. We're going to have all of February and all of March and some of April, so that's 60 to 90 days at least for these crops to have a full cycle. And hopefully we'll be able to harvest some things before we're ready to plant out our spring vegetables. Now, before I dive into the 10 things that I'm planting, I want to share with you just a few things to keep in mind if you're new to planting in the winter in a mild climate like we are. So we're in zone 9B, Sacramento, California. Like I said, the weather in January is very unpredictable. Your soil temps can be a lot of different temperatures. And if you don't have one, you can purchase a soil thermometer, which is going to show you exactly what your soil temps are. We have one because we use it for our compost, but I've been kind of just keeping an eye on what our soil temps are, just kind of out of curiosity. And right now, they're sitting between like 45 and 50 degrees. So definitely still not warm enough to plant a lot of your summer vegetables, but there are plenty of plants that are more frost resistant that can germinate in colder temps. Now, when I say germinate, what you see on that seed package might not be 100% accurate when you are planning to, it's gusty, when you are planning to plant and germinate directly outside. So what you might experience is either longer times it's going to take for the seeds to sprout, germinate, and grow. So for example, if your seed packet says germinating within 5 to 10 days or emerging in 5 to 10 days, you might notice it's maybe 8 to 12 days or even 15 days. It's going to be a little bit longer depending on, again, what's happening in your garden specifically. You may also notice that the plants that you plant right now are going to be slower to grow. So if things are saying it takes 28 days to maturity or 60 to 65 days to maturity, just give yourself a little bit more buffer, because with the colder soil temps, it's going to take longer for these plants to grow bigger. There's just not enough, as much energy they're getting from the warmth, if that makes sense. all my seed packets are blowing away. Another thing to keep in mind with winter gardening is the sun position. It's going to be different from what you are used to in the summer months. So just pay attention to what that sun position looks like for you. The sun is typically, for us in the northern hemisphere, going to be lower on the horizon than it is in the summer. So fences can be more of a deterrent. Your house could be more of a deterrent. Different trees and bushes and shrubbery, things like that, can always cast more shade on your garden boxes than you're used to in the summer months. I know that was our case back at our old property. We had to fight the winter sun quite a bit more, and we had like one good spot for winter gardening, and everything else we just had to wait for summer. Here at this property, we actually strategically chose this position itself for the garden because of the light and sun positioning for both winter and summer gardening. So we have no worries about the sun positioning or anything like that for our winter crops. Now, the plants I'm describing in this video are going to work for us this month, this year. Come next year or the following seasons from there, it could shift back and forth. So I'm not saying you can always plant these in January, but this year specifically, the cards are in our favor. I'm pretty confident that these are going to germinate and grow for us and be harvestable before we plant our spring crops. And if you're in a slightly cooler climate or slightly adjacent and you're familiar with kind of the nuances of that, this video might be relevant to you in February or even March. So just keep that in mind. These are cool season crops for us here in Zone 9B. All right, without further ado, let me talk about the 10 crops we're planting right now in Sacramento in January. Okay, the first crop I'm going to talk about, I actually don't have a seed packet for because I actually planted a few weeks ago. It was probably actually the end of December, but I'm going to sneak it into this video because if you haven't planted them yet, you still could, and they're going to grow really well for you, and that is the fava bean. I love fava beans. They're a really great cover crop, so meaning they're going to add in a lot of great nutrients back into your soil. What I also love about fava beans in the winter is that it's extremely frost resistant, so it's going to thrive in this kind of temperature. You can see in this bed itself, like I've had really great germination success, and they're already looking good with only being a couple weeks old. So that is the first crop, and that's the fava bean. The second plant you can plant right now is any sort of peas. The peas are a cool season crop. They're going to do best in the spring or the fall. So if you didn't get a chance to plant them in like November, October, September, that kind of time frame, now is a great time to do so. And it's going to love this weather, especially as the weather continues to warm up. This pea specifically takes 68 days to mature, so it's perfect timing for us to be able to plant and harvest prior to our spring and summer plant. And of course, most peas are going to need some sort of trellis, so I actually created this little teepee trellis. I'm thinking I should have maybe used taller sticks. I was just using what I had on hand, but I'm excited to have a little spot that my daughter Nora can hopefully sit in. I don't think she can really stand in there, but it should be fun, and if it works out, maybe I'll upgrade it come springtime with beans and make it a little bit bigger for her. All right, number 3, the third thing I'm planting in the garden this month are carrots. Carrots are really great to grow in the cool season. They take 45 to 65 days to mature, at least this variety specifically does. This seed pack is actually quite old. It's from 2021. But so my germination rate may be affected in that sense, but I'm in a season where I'm just going to use what I have, and that is something I'm going to try out. So carrots do really well. A tip with carrots is they really like loamy soil, kind of sandy soil. So make sure that you really loosen up the soil that you're going to be planting it into. If you have access to like a little sand or anything like that, you can actually mix that in, and that is what's going to give you really nice, deep, long carrots. And then in a few weeks, once these germinate, just make sure you go through and thin them out. That's going to help those carrots bulb up and get nice and big for you as well. Number 4, the fourth thing I'm planting this month in our garden, another root crop, and that's radishes. I actually have 2 seed packets from years past that I'm going to be utilizing for radishes. I haven't decided if I'm going to plant both or just pick one. It looks like I haven't even opened this Easter egg blend, so we'll see which one I plant, or maybe if I have room, I'll plant both. But radishes are a really great crop to grow right before your summer season because these are super quick. If I time it right, I actually might be able to get 2 harvests in. They take 28 to 30 days to mature, and so in just a couple weeks you can be eating farm fresh, garden fresh radishes. And yeah, the Easter egg blend, that's so fun because you're going to get different colors, while this French breakfast radish, they're calling it, is a little bit more elongated, so also just really pretty. And I think I'm on number 5. So another root crop. You can see a trend with winter gardening, and that's going to be the beets. Beets do pretty well in the cooler season. This is one where I might see a little bit of a delay because it does prefer warmer soil temps. This seed packet specifically says at least 45 degrees, which we're right there, but ideally 60 to 85 degree for an early summer crop. So we'll see what happens there. I'm willing to just give it a try. 48 days to maturity, so right in that sweet spot of planting now and harvesting without compromising any space for my summer garden. And we'll either see they might just take a little bit longer to sprout and come up, or they will come up and just be a little bit slower to grow, and that's okay for me too. It does say you can soak these seeds for 12 to 24 hours before sowing, and that's going to aid in germination, so I may actually do that as well because the next 10 days we're not forecasted any rain. So there we go. There's number 5. Number 6, it's actually a couple different things I'm just going to group together for ease because they're all kind of the same, and that's your leafy greens. Spinach, I've got arugula, I've got just like a mixed lettuce blend, and then kale. You can see I'm kind of just going through my seed packs, my seed collection, and planting things that I have. But lettuce is a really great cool season crop because here in Sacramento or any other hot climate where you get hot, dry summers, it's going to be nearly impossible to grow lettuce in the summer months unless you have a really great shady spot that never sees direct sunlight. I'm going to be planting maybe a mix of these. I'm just going to kind of see how much space I have in that garden bed as I plant all of this stuff out. But these are really great, easy things to harvest, and it's like a cut and come again, which is really great. So it's going to start being harvestable. Let's see, this one says 28 to 45 days, 30 to 50 days. So kind of in that, you know, you're able to cut it down, let it regrow, and keep harvesting until really it gets too hot out and you're not able, and they start kind of dying off. So number 8, I hope my numbers are right. I haven't been keeping track. Number 8 is cilantro. And I'm sure there's other herbs that you can be planting this time of year too, but I'm specifically going to be doing cilantro. Cilantro is really great cool season crop. I love eating cilantro, so I'm really excited to get some in the ground because I miss it once the summer months come and it just gets too hot outside for this to thrive. But cilantro is really great for 2 reasons. A, it's delicious to eat, and B, it's really great for attracting beneficial insects to your garden because this kind of becomes like a home to like ladybug larvae, things like that. That's just going to aid in a better environment for your spring crops when you come to plant them. So anything I can do to help attract beneficial insects to my garden and keep the bad ones out is a win for me. So I'm gonna be planting a lot of this in that garden bed. All right, so number 9 and number 10 are actually 2 seeds or 2 plants that I would normally buy starts for unless I've started the seeds inside. I have not started these seeds inside ahead of time, but I have seeds, so I'm just gonna go ahead and plant them and just kind of see what happens. I'm gonna call number 9 broccoli. I love broccoli to eat it, it's delicious. It's really fun to grow if you've never grown broccoli. It's just really satisfying to like see that head like bulb up and just get big, and you're like, this is what I buy in the grocery store. It's just a really fun phenomenon to like see in your garden. But I'm gonna go ahead and just try to direct sow this. It's not, again, like not something I normally do, but these seeds are from 2022 and I just kind of want to clean out my seed collection. So I'm gonna be trying that out today. It's the right time of year. This says 7 to 10 days to germinate, and then yeah, it doesn't really give me a good maturity date, but we're just gonna see what happens with this. But broccoli, especially if you do buy a transplant, I would definitely recommend transplanting that this month, especially right now this year. It's just such a perfect time to be planting some spring vegetables. And that leads me to number 10, celery. It's also a great time of year for celery. I've never, another one I really haven't direct sowed outside before, so it's gonna be kind of a test for me to see kind of how that goes. This one does have a longer grow time. This is telling me like about 100 days to maturity. So that is going to be a little interesting with the spring crop, but I think if you were to transplant this from a start from the nursery, or if you had the forethought to start seeds already, it'll definitely be able to be harvestable before the spring plant. It does say it wants soil temperatures at least 50 degrees, so I'm probably pushing it a little bit on that aspect, but I'm just gonna see what happens with my celery planting. And kind of a bonus one, thinking about ones I usually buy for starts, but are also great Cool weather ones would be cauliflower. I love growing cauliflower in the winter too. It's just like an easy and very satisfying garden vegetable to grow this time of year. I actually have some in this bed I planted a couple months ago. So those are looking really, really good right now too. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek here of the garden. So yeah, that's it. Those are the 10 things I'm gonna be planting today. And I'm really excited to share all of those with you. I'd love to hear what you're planting in the garden this month in your zone. If you're in a same zone or a similar climate, like what are you planting in your garden right now? And I'm just really excited to be getting my hands dirty, utilizing our beautiful new garden beds that we just put in. And if you haven't been following our channel, I hope you do. Please subscribe and like this video. It really helps support our channel and everything that we're trying to do for you guys. And until next time, we'll see ya. Bye for now.